Hey there, everybody. It's Aaron and JT. We are with you for this special edition of Market Minutes this week. We're going to give you a bit of an update on the spring market, what we see going on out there. Let's do this. All right, I don't know about you, but I feel like we've gone from like a level 10 of scorched earth to maybe like an 8 in the last month or so. What are you feeling out there on the buyer side?
We're definitely in the middle of some sort of shift, but to understand where we are now, we have to talk a little bit about how we got here. Since this pandemic started about 24 months ago, buyers have really been acting only on emotion. They didn't need to be close to work anymore because everyone was working remotely. They needed more space in their homes to work from home. And with the interest rates lowering, that only really fueled the fire. There was a moment in time in which interest rates were in the low to mid 2%, which is just insane. And as they hovered there for a while, a lot of buyers got into the market. We've said before that in a typical year, about 5,000 residents move out of the district into the suburbs, and we saw that number triple to get to about 15,000 people. And that really surged the market a lot. Every week we saw these groups of buyers kind of moving around in these neighborhoods, competing against each other, getting beat out in a competitive offer situation, and then the next week really just getting right back up and bidding higher. And in a really short amount of time, we saw property values skyrocket in the 10 to even 15% world over the course of just a few months. And it really was getting incredibly aggressive out there. So where we are now is, as the interest rates have been rising, we're seeing buyers actually get more aggressive. Counterintuitively, when interest rates rise, you do see more buyers enter the market for fear of being priced out. We have to remember that at January 1, you could still get a 3% 30-year fixed interest rate. By the middle of February, it jumped to 4%, and last week it actually eclipsed 5% for the first time in 11 years.
Nuts.
It is absolutely nuts out there. So, when Aaron says things have gotten from like a 10 to like an 8, I mean, things are still crazy. Any property worth its weight in gold is getting offers within the first 4, 5, 7 days. Condition is still key, of course, and sellers are asking a little bit more for their properties, so that is something to consider. Yeah, we're not really seeing the 20-30% over asking price right now, but that again, one of those mechanisms is that the sellers are asking for a lot more money these days.
Yeah, I think that's a really strong point. We talk a lot about how much things went up, but that's all relative to where things were priced. We have, as I believe, sort of as an industry and among the market, we didn't let ourselves jump up in pricing all the way to where things were bidding up to. We still understood that those prices were a result of competition ultimately. So that kept us from jumping so crazy all at once, which I think could have put the brakes on the market.
Right.
And we have more seen a gradual increase in the sort of the starting point of the prices. So yeah, we might not see a 30% increase on a house like we might have seen earlier in the middle of the pandemic, but that's because that starting price started higher. So now it's 10%. Everyone feels a little bit better about it, and the market is adjusting. I think, sellers came to realize that you don't need 45 offers to get a great number on your house. You need the most motivated five people or so that see the value in it, that bring that number up. So raising those prices and dropping off some of the people that were never really in competition to begin with, I think was a healthy way to go. And I think, we have not really seen a drop off in the amount of buyers. I think every time there were these holdover buyers, it started during the pandemic, and then there were these holdover buyers earlier this year from the end of last year. A lot of frustrated buyers. They kind of took a chill pill for the holidays. They came back. They were still battling it out in the first few months as first few listings of 2022 came on. And I feel like we've burned through them a little bit. And now, instead of 30 other people competing against you, it's 10. Doesn't change your plan. You still need to go in hard if you want a house and step up, but it is a little bit more relaxing as I think buyer agent right now.
It's true. And the experts really are split right now with regard to where we think these interest rates are going. Like I said, the Fed just last week said that they're going to raise the rates another 0.5%. That's a lot of lenders will tell you that's already been baked into the interest rates for the past couple of weeks. But they're also anticipating another hike in June and then another one in July. Some experts are saying that they believe that we're nearing the peak. Other experts think that we might see interest rates increase all the way to 6, even 7%.
God, I hope not.
Right, but it should be we should remember that during the last bubble, interest rates were in the mid to high 5s, and it really didn't deter anyone. If you look at that chart, that historic interest rate chart, we still are very low in our interest rates, all things relative. It's just really frustrating for some of these buyers that still have a pre-qualification letter from their lender dated December that says 3%, and they know they have to pay 5%. And I think that that's going to start to really push people back onto the sidelines with regard to the buyers.
All right, here's what I got for sellers right now. These are the 3 things that I'm really trying to drive home with our listings. Number 1, continue to have faith in the market. As the market shifts and people are talking about, oh, well, they had 30 offers, the market's not the same anymore. What's going to happen is that sellers who really want to get what their neighbor got are going to think, oh, well, there's not as many buyers. I don't know if I can create the bidding war that drove that number that they got. So I should just price much higher and hope to get 1 or 2 buyers. Absolutely the wrong way to go. There are still buyers out there. They still want your house. They are still in the mindset that they're going to need to compete. And like we talked about, you don't need 30 or 40 buyers to create a competition. You only really need 2 or 3. After that, they tend to be lower and not really in competition anyway. Right. So continue to price to be attractive and look in line with where other listings in your neighborhood started, and continue to have faith in the market and let it ride out. All right, secondly, condition. What happens in a hot market? You think, oh, there's plenty of buyers out there that they'll buy anything that's got walls and a roof.
Indoor plumbing.
But that is not the case. I know, as being both listing and buyer agents and working both sides equally, we see our buyers going through the doors of houses that are not presenting well, and it is a completely different experience. This is an emotional game, and you as a seller need to be getting to those buyers' emotions, and that means putting in the effort up front and not letting the crazy market let you get lazy about maintenance or staging or the way your house is showing. You want that buyer to have a good experience. That'll make them leave loving the house, wanting to do what it takes to get it, and that's the name of the game.
It's also important to remember that the first showing is online. A lot of what Aaron is talking about really makes the pictures and the way the house is presented online a lot better, and that's what's going to draw the most amount of your buyers in. Totally.
And lastly, my third thing would be take your process and look at it as a day-to-day thing. The most motivated people for your house are the ones who are likely to be coming out first. Usually, we always find that a lot of our buyers definitely came out on that first day. We've seen a lot in the market, a lot of setting review, contract review timeframes. So you put it on a Thursday, you don't review till Tuesday. Well, I think in this market, since we are definitely seeing somewhat of a shift, sometimes the most motivating factor for a buyer to pay as much as they're willing to pay for a house is the ability to take it down and not let themselves get in competition. So sometimes the threat of the competition is stronger than the actual competition itself.
Absolutely.
So you should have an ongoing dialogue with your agent on a day-to-day basis. Who do we know who's interested? How are they acting? Are they trying to say, hey, we want to make what we call a compelling offer is the key word that's been lately. And, how much are they saying, or how much do we think they're going to hang around if we wait all the way till Tuesday?
Right.
We want to give time for people to get in,
Right.
but then there's a really fine line where things turn, and you need to make sure that you're focusing on the people you think are going to be willing to pay the most and give you the best terms, all equally importantly, for your home. So don't just, say, I'm not looking at anything to Tuesday. Be involved with your agent, understand what's going on a day-to-day basis. That'll help you get to the right buyer and ultimately get you the most you're going to get out of it.
Right. I mean, if I'm a buyer and I put in an offer 10-15% over asking price on Friday morning, I'm going to get kind of frustrated if I have to wait for everyone else to get their ducks in a row, and I'll hear on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And as listing agents, we're just really trying to keep those first really powerful buyers engaged.
Absolutely. Well, we hope you learned something this week. We are out here. It's an interesting time. I think that we are going to kind of continue the way we are for the near future, at least.
Right.
I don't see anything, unless something crazy happens where all of a sudden we see job loss or income loss, or the economy starts, there starts to be too much talk about the economy somehow shifting.
Right.
I really don't see a change coming, and I think it's good. We're getting into a more healthy place.
I agree.
We couldn't continue the way we were going.
I agree, and we both think that the typical real estate calendar is also going to come back. For a moment in time, no one was going to graduations, going to weddings, going to beach for vacation. We find that even during this past spring break, there was a little lull in activity for a moment there.
That was where it really started to show up.
Right. So once July and August hits and everyone's heading out of the city, we probably will start to see a more normalized, balanced market. But for right now, it continues just to be week by week.
Agree. You can always reach out to us if you want to talk about anything individually. Happy to give you advice. Thank you for tuning in. If you are not already doing so, please give us a follow at Jeweler Burton on social. If you know anybody who is getting into the market or considering selling, we would love to have the conversation. Have a really great weekend, everybody. Later.